Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the equation of a circle. Before we venture into the equation of a circle, there are certain things about a circle that we must know. Alright? So when we have a circle, first of all we have what is called the center of the circle. It's right in here. Now from the center of a circle to any point on the circumference is what we call the radius. Alright? Very important that we know that. Now if we were to draw any line connecting two points on the circumference, this line would be referred to as a chord. If we draw a line to the circumference that touches a single point on the circumference, that is what we now call a tangent. Now, if we draw a radius to this point, then that radius would form an angle of 90 degrees with a tangent. So the angle between the radius and the tangent is 90 degrees. Alright, so it means now that the radius can also be referred to as the normal. Now, the next thing we need to know about a circle is that the longest chord is actually the diameter. And this chord passes through the center of the circle. So this is my diameter. Now, why is all this information important? Because if we're going to find the equation of a circle, we have to know about the parts of the circle and how they apply to the circle. Because that is actually, in essence, how we derive a circle, how we understand the equation of a circle, how we understand equations of normals, how we understand equations of tangents, and so on. Let us say that we have a circle, and the center of the circle is the coordinate AB. Alright, the circumference, any point on the circumference, which is where my circle really is, any point at all, x and y, will be at a fixed distance from the center of the circle. And that distance is what we call the radius. So if I were to choose a point down here, let me put this in blue, the distance of this point on the circumference from the center, which is AB, would also be the radius. So every single point on my circle is at a fixed distance from my center, and that fixed distance is my radius. Good, but how do I define the distance between 2 points? We know that from elementary days that the distance between 2 points, which we call L, we say is normally equal to the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Now, this fixed point, when referring to the circle, this fixed point, or this fixed point that I'm talking about, is the center, which is AB. And the point I'm talking about is a point on the circumference, and I'm going to generalize that as x and y. Now, the distance between the center and any point on the circumference is what we call the radius. So we can make some substitutions in this formula. So we can say that the radius, which is r, is equal to the square root of any point on the circumference, which is that I'm calling x and y, or x2 and y2. So I'm going to have x minus x1. x1 I could call the center of the circle. So it will be x minus a squared plus y minus b squared. Now bear in mind that a and b represents the center of the circle, which is my x1 and my y1. And x and y, which is x2 and y2, represent any point on the circumference. Alright, now if I were to square both sides, I would end up with r squared. On the right hand side, the square root would be cancelled. So I'm going to have x minus a all squared plus y minus b all squared. So I could probably turn this around and say x minus a squared plus y minus b squared is equal to r squared. And this is a standard form of the equation of a circle that has a center of a and a radius of r units. Here's a simple example. Determine the standard form of the equation of a circle with center 3, -4, and radius 6 units. You can go right ahead and draw a circle, but we don't necessarily need to do that. We just simply need to go back for the standard form. So we know that this is x minus a all squared plus y minus b all squared is equal to r squared. Bear in mind that a and b represents the coordinate of the center of the circle. And here the center is 3, negative 4. So I'm going to end up with x minus 3 squared plus y. No, notice we have a minus sign here, and the 4 is also negative. So we're going to have y minus negative 4, which is just going to give me y plus 4 all squared is equal to my radius, 6 units. So I'm going to have 6 squared. And this is what we call the standard form of the equation of a circle. Now, we also have what we call a general form. Alright, and for me to put this in the general form, I'm going to have to expand the brackets. But of course, I'm not going to go through the long procedure. These are perfect squares, so I'm going to use a shortcut for it that says if I have a plus b all squared, when I expand this, I'm going to get a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Alright, so let us apply it to this bracket. So I'm going to have x squared. Now 2ab here is going to give me 2 times x times negative 3, so it's minus 6x plus 9. Similarly for y plus 4 all squared, I'm going to have y squared plus 8y plus 16, and I'm going to expand that 6 squared, which is 36, which I'm going to bring over, so minus 36 equals 0. Now I'm going to put the square terms together, so I'm going to have x squared plus y squared, then comes the x term, so minus 6x plus 8y. Now I'm just going to simplify all of these numbers, so I'm going to have 9 plus 16, so it's 9 plus 16 minus 36, which is equal to negative 13. So minus 13 is equal to 0. And this form is what we call the general form of the equation of a circle. Also a very important form. So the exam might ask you for any one, so you have to know them equally. Here's an next example. Find the equation of a circle with center negative 2, 5 and passing through the point 3, 8. So the first thing I'm going to do for this one is that I'm going to draw the circle. So the center here is at negative 2, 5, and it passes, so a point on the circumference is 3, 8. What does that mean? This means that we need to go back to the standard form, which is x minus a squared plus y minus b all squared is equal to r squared. We know the center of the circle already, so that's not a problem. What we need to find here is the radius, which is this length right here. So we can simply just transpose our input into the equation and transpose to the radius. So bear in mind that x and y represent any point on the circumference. And we are told that a point on the circumference here is 3, 8. A and B is the center of the circle, which is negative 2, 5. So what I'm going to have here is 3. Now, because the 2 is negative, I'm going to have 3 plus 2 all squared plus 8 minus 5 all squared is equal to r squared. Now, simply we break this down. So we could actually put all this into our calculators, and this would work down to give me 34. So I would have 34 is equal to r squared. So r is equal to the root of 34. And we'll leave that in third form. Now I can go back and write the standard form. So I'm going to have x, and here the center was negative 2, 5. So I'm going to have x plus 2 all squared plus y minus 5 squared is equal to the root of 34 squared. Alright, bear in mind that this is my standard form. A lot of times the question asks you for the equation, they actually require you to put it in the general form. So all you really need to do is to expand this form. There are so many different ways that I can phrase the question. Here's the next example. The endpoints of the diameter of a circle are 2, negative 4, and 6, 8. Determine the equation of a circle. Alright, so in a scenario like this, I would definitely want to have a diagrammatic representation. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw my diameter. Now I must know the properties of my diameter because my diameter passes through the center of the circle. So the center of the circle is the midpoint of my diameter. So here we have 2, -4, and down here we have 6, 8. So right away, by understanding the properties of the circle, I already know what to do. I know that by finding the midpoint of this diameter, I would have found the center of the circle. So I'm going to go ahead and say midpoint is equal to x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2. Alright, you just choose a set and call it x1, y1, x2, y2. It doesn't really matter what set. So my midpoint is going to be 2 plus 6 over 2, -4 plus 8 over 2. When I break this down, my midpoint becomes 4, 2. So now I have the center of the circle. So let me put that in. This is 4, 2. To find the length of the radius, there are so many different ways I could take this. I could find the length of the diameter, divide it by 2. I have the center of the circle, and I have 2 points on the circumference. So I can go right ahead to the standard form of the equation of the circle. It depends on whichever one you feel more comfortable with. So let us use the standard form. So we have x minus a all squared plus y minus b all squared is equal to r squared. Now bear in mind that a and b is the center of the circle, and x and y is any point on the circumference. We could probably use 6 and 8. So I'm going to have 6 minus 4 all squared plus 8 minus 2 all squared is equal to r squared. Now when I break this down, I'm going to get 40 equal r squared. So we can actually say that r is the square root of 40, which I think when you break it down in third form, you get r equal to root 10. I can just go ahead now and write the equation of a circle. So it's going to become x minus 4 all squared plus y minus 2 all squared is equal to 2 root 10 squared. And this here now is what we call the standard form of the equation of the circle. And just like we said, if we want the general form, all we have to do is expand this thing. And we gave you the perfect square already, the shortcut for doing it. So let us apply it. So when I expand the first bracket there, I'm going to have x squared minus 8 plus 16. With the second bracket, I'm going to have y squared minus 4y plus 4. And I can carry over the 2 root 10. Alright, when I square that there, I'm going to get minus 40 equals 0. Now we put the square terms together. So I have x squared plus y squared minus 8x minus 4y. And now I'm going to have 16 plus 4. So that's 20 minus 40, which is going to give me -20 equals 0. And this now is the general form of the equation of this circle.